It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is the 16th of March, and this is episode number 71. I've got almost everybody here. I think Chris is goofing off on the beach or something, although word on the street is Bradley's about to go join him. So we'll go down the row here. Hernan, how's it going?
Hey guys, hey everyone. Take it easy, you too, by traveling and doing stuff, okay?
Hey man, watch your mic. I think you're you got it turned up about 10 times too high.
Oh, okay.
It's hot,
No
Mike.
worries.
It's a hot mic. Hot mic.
Yeah,
Hot mic.
There we go. Hey Marco, what's up?
Warm and sunny, man.
It's getting that way here too, man.
Awesome. Well, last but not least, Bradley, how's it going?
71 degrees, sunny. It's actually we're supposed to get thunderstorms today, but I'll be on a plane. Hopefully, I'll be above that.
Man, I hope so. God, you made
Nice.
just a couple hours makes a big difference. I'm up here and it's not cold, but man, it's just nasty out. Dark clouds, wind blowing, probably about 45, 50 degrees. So
Did you say 71?
Yeah.
I was at the beach this weekend, and the water wasn't even that cold.
You fucker.
let's see. Let's get through the announcements. And the reason I'm kind of pushing things today is we're going to cut things off at 45 after. We got to end early. Bradley's got a flight to catch. So we're going to make this quick. Remind everybody, IFTTT 2.0. That's going to be 9 a.m. on the 28th of March is launching. We're going to be posting again prices, things like that pretty soon, but we are going to tell you now that on launch you're going to get the chance for very special pricing. And more on that later. We'll pop a link in if you want to be notified here in a sec. Also, SERP if you're already a subscriber, you know it's a free account over there, and you can sign up. Once you sign up, you'll get discounts that other people don't get. So if you haven't signed up, highly suggest you do that. We've had a lot of updates to the system, and we got a lot more coming down the pipeline. And then I wanted to see, because we talked about it last week, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to Bradley, so I wanted to see what was going on with MasteryPR.
Good question. We're working on it. I mean, every day we meet. Sometimes I don't get to make it because of everything else, but Zane is kind of spearheading that up, Zane Miller. And so we have what we call the bullpen every day at 3 o'clock or 3 p.m. Eastern, and we get together and work on the various projects. We've got several big affiliate products that campaigns that we've been working on and promotions, which is cool because we're trying to develop the system and then systematize it, create a procedure that can be documented and duplicated, so that if not all of it, at least parts of it can be outsourced. Because obviously, setting up a full-on affiliate campaign is a lot of work, especially for the bigger products that require more content, more effort, that kind of stuff. And so it's not something that I particularly want to do 100% of the work on my own every time, because it's a lot of work. So once we have a nice procedure in place that's repeatable, then we'll document that, and that's what's going to be available to where we can start outsourcing parts of it, which will make it a scalable model. But at the same time, we're also finding, because we've done a couple promotions so far, and we're currently working on a couple other big ones, that the original idea was to go after just the high ticket items, because you don't have to sell near as many products. You don't sell volume, but you get large commissions. And so we're going after like the $2,000 products that pay out $1,000 commissions and that kind of stuff. But we're starting cold. Like MasteryPR, we're not mailing these offers to our list that we have developed for Semantic Mastery. We're starting cold so that we're on the same level playing field as the members of MasteryPR that are kind of going along this journey with us. So it's interesting because I'm seeing that it's difficult to send cold traffic to a $2,000 offer and have it convert. No matter how good our campaigns are set up, it's hard to send cold traffic to a $2,000 offer and convert. So we actually just talked about it today, just in the last hour during the bullpen, where we're going to start promoting the lower ticket items to get traffic in the door that will get people opted into an email list, particularly a buyer's list, and then the follow-up sequence, the email sequence, is where the higher ticket sales will come. So it's absolutely a evolving as we go, which is interesting because I think that's the best way to do it. Like the people that are part of this with us, there's about 20 people in there that are, and less than that, maybe 12 to 15 people that are really active in the group. And out of all of us, you know, we're developing this together, and it's a process that we're kind of working on together to create, which is interesting because instead of us just having something done and then saying, here, this is how you do it, we're developing it together. And it's interesting because it gives us that level of interaction between us and our members that we hadn't had before. So it's fun.
Cool. And I didn't know if we were going to share, but I'm going to ask you, and you can say no if not. But what exactly are you and Chris up to over the next few days?
Oh, I'm going to Marketing Mayhem, and Chris, our partner Chris, he's already there in Orlando, I think. So I'm going down there for, you know, just to go rub elbows with other affiliates and, you know, people in our space, try to develop some relationships for various reasons. And also, you know, Lead Gadget crew is down there. They're in, so they invited me down, and that's in part I'm going down there for that as well. So it's going to be fun. I've never been to Marketing Mayhem. I hear it's like an internet marketing frat party.
Oh boy.
So I think I should fit right in.
Good deal. And then we'll be meeting up at the end of the month in San Diego for the ClickFunnels conference.
That's correct.
So that should be interesting. I've never been to one of those either, so we'll get a chance to check that out and hopefully learn a lot as well as be able to hopefully help some people. So
yeah.
Alrighty, well let's get rolling.
Yeah, we got about 40 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the screen and lock it on me. Can you guys see everything all right?
Yes.
Okay, let me resize this a little bit. Okay, here we go. We'll get into these questions. We're going to roll through what we can today, guys. I have to wrap it up in about 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so to go catch a flight. So, okay, Mark says, hey guys, I know you go after one keyword per video. With your video title, do you put the brand name in there too? Yes, Mark, I do. Most of the time, yes. So your example, like plumbers in Dallas, and then separator Bob's Plumbing. Yeah, that's typically what I do. Yes, because I like that whole branding thing. I think it adds kind of it makes it look more legit. So I usually put the company name in there. Just one quick yes or no question. Sorry, when you have multiple personas attached to one YouTube channel, do you use the same tier 2 for all, or does each tier 1 get its own content sources? Or can you do both, say, one brand and two personas? All three use the same tier 2, but also have other related content sources. Thanks. Mark, when you're dealing with tier 2 networks for YouTube, you don't need additional content sources. You can have them if you want, but you don't need them. The additional content sources that you use as triggers at tier 2 are only required for the blog syndication networks. So, you know, with the RSS recipes, you don't need that for YouTube, because YouTube, you don't have to hide the footprint. Especially if you use the recipes the way that we show them, the way that we shared them, which is just the embed, the link to the video, and then the link to the channel. If that's all you're adding in the recipes, then you don't need to worry about additional content sources to mask or minimize a footprint. It doesn't matter. We've never had any footprint issues. So for that, I would recommend that you just don't bother with adding content sources in. You certainly can if you want, but it's additional work that I think is completely unnecessary. It's not needed. And I always like to do the bare minimum to get results. So, but if you wanted to do multiple persona, like personally what I do is I always have new full 2-tier networks. Like if I'm going to create for YouTube syndication, guys, if I'm going to create a tier 1 ring that's a persona based or branded, regardless, every time I create a tier 1 ring, I end up creating the 3 tier 2 rings as well. It's just like I do a full 2-tier network, which is 4 rings in total. 1 tier 1, 3 tier 2s. Do that no matter what. So if I will start, if I'm just starting with a brand new YouTube channel and I'm going to create one full 2-tier network, great. Then if I want to go add another tier 1 ring, then I'll go ahead and add that tier 1 ring, but then I'll have the 3 tier 2 rings completed and added as well. Even if I do it in stages. Like I just send the work to my VAs and they do it all for me, but if you were going to do it on your own, you could purchase, like if you were going to build it yourself, which I don't recommend, then you could just build the tier 1 ring and then build out the 3 tier 2 rings and add them at a later date. Or if you were going to buy it and you just wanted to buy 1 tier 1 ring now and then the 3 tier 2 rings later, that's fine. Whatever you want to do. I personally like using the full 2-tier networks for YouTube syndication better than just the single tier 1 rings as supplemental rings. Now, if I have some like spare networks laying around or networks that were part of a project that I'm no longer working on or something like that, then I'll sometimes just add those as independent tier 1 rings to the channel without adding the tier 2 stuff to it. But even then, I usually end up going back and adding the tier 2 rings at a later date. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Zaki? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I saw that you joined recently, and I know that she said later up near the top earlier that she had sorted out her IFTTT.
Yeah, she got it covered, yeah.
So, we'll skip over this. Okay, for this, you said, should I wait until I get the new IFTTT videos? No, don't wait, Jack. Just go through it. Just go through the training and start setting up, because the new training is still very much there's a lot of it is still similar. It's just the way that the accounts are set up that's been updated. It makes them stronger and more powerful. And also there are some new recipes. There are some new properties added and some properties that we've taken away. But don't let that stop you. That's coming out in 12 days. Just go ahead and get started with what you have. And then when the new training comes out, you'll find some additional things that you can do, and additional ways. I wouldn't wait though. Just go with what you got. Okay. Let's see. And by the way, you asked about people's getting site audit and stuff. We do that in the master class, and I know that you joined that. So and in the mastermind, we also do it in the mastermind. But the master class is where we'll typically do site audits or put you in the hot seat if you want. And that's the next one's scheduled next Wednesday, March 23rd at 5 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to be on that, just post on that event page, which you can find the link inside the members area. On the Welcome tab, there's a link that will take you to the most current event page, and you can just post your request there, and we'll bring you on to that webinar. And also, if you want to sit in the hot seat, and we'll also audit any property you want us to look at. Greg says, I ended up with 2 Google Plus business pages for the same brand domain. The first was created as I went step by step through the IFTTT videos and created the YouTube channel for the brand. This one has the brand logo. The second business Google Plus page was created automatically when I later created the Google My Business page. This one has the NAP and website info under the generic avatar area and the messages and the message to verify. Both are connected to the profile I created that owns the brand. I had the profile add my personal G Plus profile as manager, and the second G Plus page location with the NAP info is what shows up for me to manage. What is the best way to resolve this? Well, you can add yourself to both pages. You can add yourself as a manager to both the Google. Look, what you're talking about is you have a Google brand page or Google Plus brand page and a Google Plus local page. That's what you're talking about. You have 2 business pages. One's a brand page that has a links section, but it doesn't have an NAP, name, address, and phone number. The other one is a Google local page that has an NAP, name, address, and phone number, but it doesn't have a link section. That's perfectly fine. You can have 2. And what you can do is you can make yourself a manager of both pages, your main profile, I mean, a manager of both pages so that you can manage both. For example, we have the same thing with Semantic Mastery. We have a local page and we have our brand page, and it's perfectly okay to have both. We use our brand page more than our local page. If you're doing stuff for a local business, you can still have both pages, but I would recommend that what you're syndicating content to as part of your IFTTT networks, which is, remember, it's IFTTT to Buffer, and Buffer posts to the Google Plus page. I would recommend that you connect Buffer to the Google Plus local page, because that's going to help you to rank in maps. If you're doing local work, guys, and you have a local maps page, then I recommend that you use that Google Plus page as your page in your network. Or you can always set up a secondary IFTTT account and a secondary Buffer account and connect to both your brand page and your local page and syndicate to both. You can definitely do that too. But like I said, if I were to come over here and take a look, if you look at my pages here, let me just scroll down a little bit. If you guys can see this, we've got right here. There's 2 Semantic Mastery listings right here. Semantic Mastery, this is our brand page, and this is Semantic Mastery, our local page. And the way that I differentiated the 2 was I added Gainesville, VA, which is where our office is located, underneath that icon there, so that I can tell just by looking at my pages which one is which, because this one has that little piece of text underneath that icon. So that's the difference. If we open this one up and we open this one up, you're going to see that these are two different. This needs to be updated, this stupid image. But this is our local page, and you can see it's got the NAP here, and it's got that little icon, text underneath the icon. I did that specifically just so I could identify which one it was in my menu. This is our brand page. This is the one that you can see we syndicate content to, because do I really care whether my local page ranks or not? No, because we're not providing SEO services to businesses. However, it does rank in maps, and that's probably just because our brand is, got some authority now. But we syndicate to our brand page. However, like I said, if you're doing local, like for all the local work that I do, guys, I syndicate to my local page, because that's going to help it to rank in maps. Because trust me, your competitors aren't doing that. And their maps listings or their Google Plus pages that are for their local pages, they're probably not getting updated with content regularly. And if you're doing that through, publishing content to your blog or your YouTube channel, that's going to be keyword-rich stuff that you're posting that's going to help your page to rank or your listing to rank. So hopefully that makes sense. Do not delete them. Just keep both of them. Just decide on which one you're going to use. I recommend using the Maps one. You can actually use both if you set up a secondary IFTTT account and a secondary buffer account and just connect. You can actually syndicate to both, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nate says, I posted a YouTube video with no IFTTT. I need your 2.0 course. I went to page 1 and number 6 in 2 days. I sent my client a bill, and then the ranking disappeared off the face of the earth. I do not want to make this site public in this forum. I sent it to you in an email. Yeah, I know. I got it, Nate. Do you know what the hell happened? Yeah, it's called the Google dance, Nate. It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal when you have a brand new video, yeah, whether you are or you're not syndicating out. So, yeah, I mean, you should be waiting at least, I would say anywhere between a week and 15 days so that the results are are consistent, so that you wake up one day and the video didn't disappear. It's normal. It can go back to spot number 1 and then disappear again. So do not rush the build. That would be my advice.
Yeah, especially, well, a couple things. With brand new channels, you'll see that a lot. You'll see that more with brand new channels than with channels that have been seasoned a bit. But even seasoned channels, sometimes you'll rank a video like, instantly or within minutes, and then it just drops and it's not in the top 100. It's like not, it's gone, and then it'll come back a few days later. And sometimes I've had videos that will disappear out of Google Universal Search, but they'll be number 1 in video search, which is the vertical search. If you go to Google and you click videos at the top, and then it's funny because like it'll be number 1 in video search, but it won't be in Universal Search, although other people's videos might be in Universal Search. And it just takes time, and oftentimes once it reappears back in Universal Search, it ends up, because it was number 1 in Google search, or excuse me, video search, it ends up ranking above the other people's videos too. So it just takes time. Like Hernan said, it can take a few days to several weeks. So
yeah, and don't forget also that. Sorry, Bradley, but don't forget also that when optimizing, when doing SEO for videos, you're also optimizing for YouTube. Because YouTube is number 2 search engine in the world. So, I mean, even if you have a lower position on Google, you can still build a client based on your YouTube rankings. So have that in mind as well.
Yeah, that works better for some types of businesses than others. Yeah. But yeah, that's true. So Nate, don't freak out. That's normal, man. That's called the Google dance, and it's absolutely normal. In fact, if your videos weren't dancing, that would be abnormal. Okay, Sky says, I was offered some cash to have a link placed on my blog. I should have been smarter, but shortly after that's why I giggled. I should have been smarter, but shortly after I assumed the same person built about 15 PBN pages with spun articles and linked to my blog. I don't see any negative effects at the moment, but how can I protect my site before Penguin or Gspam team comes around? From my understanding, the disavow tool does nothing. Well, that's incorrect, Sky. The disavow tool does work. I've recovered penalized sites by doing nothing other than just submitting links to the disavow file using the disavow tool. So that absolutely does work. Should I be proactive in 301 the blog page back to this guy's site, or would that be effective and would that be effective with bad link juice? Yeah, you can do a 301, or you could do like a 408, which just means page gone. You can do anything you want. That's what I would do. Would either 301 redirect it away from your site, or put a 408 code in the header, which says basically page gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's not a 404. It's It's a 408. It's basically telling Google this page is gone. Do not count anything pointing to it. Okay. By the way, the guy that created the PBN links has been mentioned in this group, and some of you may be using his services and offered the same deal. No, I don't. When people offer, because all the damn sites that I manage, especially a lot of them are just PBN sites or network sites. I get those kind of spammy emails all the time with people saying, "Hey, we'd like to place a guest post on your blog. Can you, we'll pay you to do so." And I always immediately hit delete on the email, because it's a bunch of bullshit. Unless you've got like an authority net site or something that like people want to be guest posters on, then I wouldn't do it, because that's what you're going to do, is get some jackass SEO that's going to spam the hell out of your post or your site. So, but the disavow tool works. I would still recommend, though, again, 301ing that page away, or doing a 408, and then it wouldn't even be an issue. You wouldn't have to use the disavow. All right. Kevin says, "Hey guys, I had 250 Tier 2 Web 2.0s created with the service, and they ended up creating roughly 4 articles on each 2.0. The thing is, they added one of my links to each article, so now each Word W2 has 4 outbound links going to my different IFTTT Tier 1s. I am concerned that my money site could be in trouble, because it sure looks fishy having 4 articles on a Web 2 with each article having only 1 outbound link, and they are all going to different properties of the same branded network. Is this okay, or would your suggestion be to best make use of the Web 2s? Or what would your suggestion be to? No, that's fine, as long as you're not pointing directly to your money site. That's not really an issue.
Yeah.
That's not an issue at all. If you've got 4 articles on each Web 2, and each article has 1 outbound link, and it's all pointing to different IFTTT properties in your network, your Tier 1 network, there's not an issue with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are Tier 2, and what we always suggest, Kevin, is that you take it easy on the links that you are pointing to your IFTTT networks. For the sound of it, you're pointing just a handful of those links, so you should be fine. Yeah.
And then what you can do is take those 250 Tier 2s now that are Web 2s, and you can kitchen sink those.
Yep.
You can spam those, because now you've got 2 layers of Web 2 links between your money site and the spam, and so you'd be okay to do that. So, Kevin, you're all right with that, man. I wouldn't sweat it too much. Now, I wouldn't go out and seek that on, intentionally, like to do that intentionally. But it's done, and it's not. Thank God you didn't point them all to your money site, because then that would definitely be a bad thing. But this is going to your Tier 1 properties. You'll be fine. Bacon, love your name. I bought the Project Supremacy plugin and have been experimenting with it. Was wondering if I copy images that have the exif tagging to the Google Plus page associated with YouTube page that I posted related videos to, or would this? I was wondering if I copy images that have exif tagging to the Google Plus page associated with the YouTube page that I posted related videos to, or would this create any issues? If you're copying images that already have exif data on them, I would strip it out and put your own. Is that what you're talking about, Bacon? I don't understand the question 100%. It sounds like you're saying you're copying images that already had exif tagging. What I would do is strip that tagging out, all metadata, to where it's fresh. And one of the ways you can do that is by taking a screenshot of the image instead of downloading or downloading an image. You can take a screenshot of it, save it as a JPEG, and then you can add your own data to it. Yeah.
Yeah, Project Supremacy will allow you to curate, quote unquote, some images, and it will pull those images from the search engines. And the problem with that is that they come with pre-existing metadata.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that, what we usually do when searching for images, even if you're using a stock-free image, because again it's tagged for the stock-free website, you can take a screenshot, download the screenshot on your PC, and then you can work on the metadata. Just like that, it will be kind of a new image, Of course, Google can recognize now patterns and whatnot, but you're tagging that image to your own purposes.
Yeah, and then, like I said, save it as a JPEG, because if you save it as a PNG, you won't be able to edit metadata.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would do. That's what typically I'll do, is I'll just take a screenshot of the image and then add my own metadata, because if you're downloading it or importing images from the web, they're probably already going to have their own metadata, and they won't be as effective. In fact, they can actually counteract some of the stuff that you do.
Mm-hmm. And I've also heard, I think somebody mentioned it here on one of the past Hangouts or something like that, that if you mirror, like you use a vertical mirror for the image, Google cannot recognize it anymore. So that's kind of more black hat when you're trying to, to fake an image and make it appear as brand new. Yeah. But, I haven't tested it. That's something that we might need to test.
Yep. Ed Ryan. Hey, Ed. He says, hey, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Bradley, I have 2 extra persona rings I built and was wondering where they would be most beneficial to add them to my current full tier 2 network syndication, video syndication network. Was considering tier 3 as I have none there right now. Would appreciate your thoughts on this. I probably wouldn't do tier 3. To me, that's just, you can play with that if you want, Ed. That's not a problem. I just would recommend just adding additional tier 2 networks. So you could use, remember, like let's say that you've got your branded tier 1 ring, and your blogger from your tier 1 ring is triggering your tier 2A network, right? So that's your it's your tier 2 network that's being triggered by blogger. Well, you can add another tier 2 ring, especially for YouTube, because there's no footprint issues. You can take another tier 2 network and have it triggered by the same blogger RSS feed from tier 1. So it would just be like tier 2A dot A. You know what I mean? Or, dot B. If the first one was tier 2A dot A, and then the second one would be tier 2A dot B, or tier 2A dot 1, tier 2A dot 2, whatever you want to, however you want to label it, that's up to you. But that's what I would do. If you've got 2 extras, I don't know, put one on Blogger and put one on Tumblr, or one on Blogger and one on WordPress, or one on Tumblr and one on WordPress. You know what I mean? Because that's fine for, and also you could also just use them as additional tier 1 rings too. You could certainly do that. So, and that's fine. Like for example, you could use your YouTube channel as the trigger for your normal tier 1 ring, which would be most likely your branded ring or whatever, but you can add supplemental persona rings to YouTube. There's no footprint issues. So you can trigger those additional networks with by just adding the YouTube channel. Remember, you can add one YouTube channel to multiple, or activate that channel in multiple IFTTT networks, guys, or in multiple IFTTT accounts. All you got to do is just make sure that you're logged in to that YouTube account in your browser when you set up a new IFTTT account, and then go activate YouTube as the channel. It's not limited. Your YouTube channel is not limited to being only activated in one IFTTT account. It can be in multiple IFTTT accounts. So you can put literally as many tier 1 rings on a YouTube channel as you want. Okay. Also having an issue trying to live stream. I have excellent upload speeds. Compress the raw file to WMV format, and is only running 10.6 meg in size. Save the file as 480p quality and format. Factory. I shut down all necessary programs. Startup. Have not tried disabling my Windows Firewall, as I have never had to before, because I don't like the security risk. When the stream is going on Wirecast, it shows me only using 6 to 8% of my total available RAM and 32% of my CPU. The stream ends up very choppy and delayed. This has never happened before, and I was wondering if you have any ideas. No, I had issues with MP4s, and I would just recode them as WMV files, and that fixed it for me. But actually, I haven't used Wirecast in a while, because I'm using either Hangout Millionaire or there's a new, or I guess it's new to me, but it's called XSplit. It's another live streaming software. That's like Wirecast, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. And I started playing with that a little bit. Adam, you played with that too. What do you think of it?
I like it so far. I don't like that it's a little bit manual still, like Wirecast, but I figured out how to use it in 15 minutes. So yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm an idiot with a computer, thankfully, but maybe we could put together a quick tutorial if enough people are interested. We could put something out there.
Yeah, I think it probably would be worth doing, because
maybe after we launch, IFTTT 2.0, we can put something together for people. It's just another option. I like it. It's pretty slick. So
they have a free version, and then they have a paid version, and the paid version is a hell of a lot cheaper than Wirecast. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Hey Bradley.
Yep.
If I can answer Ed for a second, he needs to do a ping test. just to make sure he doesn't have packet loss, because he can have all the speed he wants, but if he's losing packets, then that's why the video could be choppy. So he needs to do a ping test. There's actually a website like speed test. I'll drop the link in there.
Yeah, and also talking about the Windows Defender, make sure there's nothing screwing around with your program. If you're using Wirecast, it could be doing something. So I would just check that it's not, disallowing not disallowing, but I've seen some weird stuff happen with Windows Defender.
And then also handbrake.fr. You can take your, I know a lot of people will take their videos even, and they'll run them through Handbrake, and it compresses them a little bit more, and that makes it work better for Wirecast. So it's not, again, I haven't had that issue, so I don't know, but this I know that I've read in some of the other groups and stuff that people use Handbrake when they have issues. They just re-encode it using Handbrake, and it compresses the file a bit better, and it makes it stream better. Just give it a shot. It's free to download. So. Okay, next is Mike Simmons. He says, "Hey guys, if you get to this, what do you think of Paul Clifford's Kudani curation tool?" It's okay, Mike. I purchased just about every curation tool out there for my VAs because my VAs all curate for clients and everything for me. And to be honest with you, now when I train new VAs, I just train them to do it manually. I know Adam can speak on this as well, but personally, all my VAs they just curate on each WordPress blog manually. They use Feedly to keep track of all the content sources, and then they just log directly into the client sites or my PBNs or whatever, and then just curate manually within the WordPress editor. That's just how my VAs do it. I've got Kudani as well. It's just something that it's not a bad tool, and if you want to use a tool, it's probably one of the good ones. I know Adam's probably got something to say too, though.
Yeah, I think it depends on your use case. If you're doing something where you're really kind of running a publishing house, like let's say you're doing a lot of curation for a bunch of different clients, then that may be the way to do it. I prefer Curation Suite. I don't have anything against Kudani, but I thought that the interface was a little funky. So for me, I just, I'm not running hundreds of sites or anything like that, so I'm able to use something like Curation Suite, which is just a plug-in, and then I appreciate the way it finds information better. But if you've got Curation Mastery, you can see kind of a quick review of all of those, and I'm not sure if you do or not. If you're part of the MasterMInd, you have access. If not, if you bought it, you can see it. But we go through Kudani, Curation Suite, Manual Curation, and a couple others, I think. Yeah. So you can kind of see what they look like and kind of some use cases.
Yeah, I think we mentioned briefly some of them on the podcast. I don't know. I don't remember if it was this week or last week podcast, but I think, yeah, that was the case. I was using it manually, also because I do not have a ton of content to curate, so I prefer the manual route. But yeah, I think we mentioned the same tools.
But yeah, Mike, I think you got the right idea. There's a 30-day money back. You know what? The only way you're going to find out is by using it. So grab it, give it a shot, and let other people know. I'm curious. I honestly don't know anyone who uses Kudani a lot. I think Bradley used to, but not to say it's a bad tool. So if I was you, I'd grab it. It's pretty easy to figure out, and I think a couple hours with it, and you'll know whether it's what you need or not.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it just ended up because I've got so many different VAs that it worked out to where it's just better for me to just train them to do it manually. And they just run everything through Feedly as their content reader, and then they just find stuff to curate, and they just curate manually within WordPress. But yeah, I mean, Kudani's okay. I've got a license for it, and I had trained some VAs on it. But now, just going forward, I just used just manual. There's nothing wrong with it though. Pick it up and try it if you'd like. It could make you more efficient. I prefer the manual route though, personally.
Yeah, I was going to say, while we haven't given it a glowing review, there's certainly nothing that, as far as I can say, that we would, say do not use it. Yeah, I highly suggest checking it out. It may be what you need. It just, for us, hasn't been the tool.
All right, let's keep rolling. Caesar says, I know it's probably not advised, but is there any real harm to hooking up your PBN to Search Console? No, I don't. Look, Caesar, as long as you are using separate Google accounts for each PBN, and so it's like a 1-to-1 ratio, it's okay to do that. Just don't hook your PBNs up to your Google account. What you can do is you can hook up PBNs to, so create a Persona Gmail account and then hook it up to Search Console there. Then you can add your account as a user but you won't be the owner. Your persona will be the owner, and I'm doing air quotes. That's fine. In fact, I do that with a lot of like the lead gadget sites that I build, which are like kind of like Surfshaker sites. I connect those to search consoles, and everybody says, "Oh, you're Stu. Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Don't do that." Well, I do it, and it works fine, and I like it because it helps me to get them indexed, and it also shows me the data that I'm looking for that you can't get anywhere else, which is what kind of impressions keyword phrases and search queries I'm getting impressions for, and that kind of stuff. But I just limit my risk. I don't put all of my sites under my own main account. I just use a separate Google account for each site.
And it's a good sign, it's a sign of trust. If you're using analytics and webmaster tools on a PBN, as long as you're using a persona account, a third-party persona account, it's a sign of trust. So I think use them, Cesar. And at some point, if you get hit or whatever, for whatever reason, and your PBN site gets the index, first off, having them on webmaster and analytics and making everything the way we're advising you to do, that drastically lowers the risk of having your PB in the index. But in any case that should happen, you can send a reconsideration request, and they usually respond back to you, so you do not lose that domain. You know what I mean? So.
Yep, and you can just send them something saying that your site was hacked and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That's usually how we get some of them back when we submit a reconsideration request.
Yep.
Like if you're buying PBN expired domains, like personally, that's another good thing to do is once you buy the expired domain, is connected to Search Console, because it'll tell you if there's any sort of manual action against it. It'll tell you in Search Console within like 24 hours. So if there was like a manual spam action at some point, and if you just purchased the domain, you can submit a reconsideration request. Say, I just picked this domain up. Put new content on it and say, I just picked this domain up, so if it had been de-indexed at some point, would you please reconsider it now, since I just picked it up? And do that through the persona account that you connected. You act as if you're that persona. Don't act as yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great way to get at the index domain. On the other hand, I always, one of my checklist points right now to purchase a PBN domain is that it's indexed. I would rather go for an index website that has a tiny, less metrics, but it's still indexed, because again, you can find domains that are beautiful, that has that they have great metrics, and you can register and use what Bradley just told you. But most of the cases, if you find those domains, it's because they belong to a PBN at some point, and people just drop them because they were de-indexed and hit at some point because of belonging to a PBN.
If you're buying domains like what we've talked about a lot recently, which is blue chip backlinks, sometimes those domains don't show as being indexed, but they were perfectly good domains.
I mean, you can get a domain de-indexed just because of inactivity,
Exactly.
But the truth is that you do not know. You just know after the fact, after you have purchased it and plugged it into Webmaster Tools. That's the only way to know. So, but yeah, usually if you go the blue chip backlinks route, it's rare that you will find a penalized domain.
Yep. Okay, Greg says, to strengthen backlinks, can a press release be used to link to a citation like Yelp or to one of the properties in an IFTTT network like Blogger or WordPress? Yes, Greg, of course it can. If so, is it smart to link to both Yelp and Blogger in the same press release? I don't see why not. Because usually the press release is going to be about your business or the business that you're providing the service to, right? And so it makes sense to link to a couple different spots. Like, for example, usually you can have up to 3 links. It's about 3 links per press release. And so a lot of times I'll link to the homepage using either the brand name or the naked URL, and then I'll link to the Google Plus local page if it's in Maps, or I'll link to the Facebook page, or and possibly to like an internal page like a silo heading or a service page or whatever on the website. But you can also link to citations, or you can link to other press releases that you've done. You could link to guest posts that maybe have been done. Whatever, it's all linking to stuff that's basically pointing ultimately back to your money site, right? And that's perfectly fine to do. It's natural to do that.
Yeah. I wanted to add that this applies to every kind of backlink that you're doing. I mean, if you're doing a PBN backlink, just have in mind that, you know, having several backlinks, for example, if you're doing a totally legit guest post, usually you will get a backlink back to your website, but also you will get a backlink, I don't know, to the author's Twitter profile, you know? And that's completely natural because you're trying to promote yourself or your website or whatever. So that's completely natural. When you're making a PBN link or, you know, another feeder site or whatever you're trying to do, that's usually advisable that you do not only link to the homepage or to an internal page, but also to a branded property. That's why they are there, you know, to protect your website and to increase, because you risk, you know, you can get them ranked, which is a good thing. You know, it's additional real estate.
Okay, next question is, Kevin says, what's the plan for Twitter now? Twitter banned recipes for searching keywords and hashtags, the retweet option. Kevin, we talk about that in RYS Academy. There's some, I know Adam found a new method that works pretty well with using some sort of email recipe, but there's also other options like Zapier, I believe. Doesn't Zapier do that, or do they not allow retweet recipes now too?
They do, but it's a rate limited.
Oh, it's rate limited, okay.
Or volume, so, I mean, but it's got a hard limit.
So we're working on, I know, Marco, are you still on? Because I know you're working on a hack too.
Yeah, I'm still on. We're working on a bot.
Yeah.
And running it through Google Scripts, actually. You guys have to know that everything that you do, all of these automated retweet recipes and all this, it's against the terms of service, right? We just found a creative way, kind of, to get around the TOS, but not really. I mean, Twitter didn't like what IFTTT was doing, and so they just cut that off. You can't Twitter to Twitter anymore. Adam found a recipe, and we actually have a script that will do the retweet recipes according to search, according to whatever, but you just have to know that it violates the terms of service, and so you have to be really careful when you're doing this. It's not like it's not going to be like IFTTT where you can just hammer away day and night. You know, 15,000 posts in 3 days. You're not going to be able to do that anymore.
All right, we got one more question from Walt, and then we're done. Guys, those of you that are saying that the audio is breaking up, just when you watch the replay, the audio will be fine. So if that ever happens, guys, just go ahead and dump out of the webinar and you know, just come back and watch the replay, and the audio should be fine. It usually always records fine. I don't know, it's probably a bug with Google that the live stream version of it has audio issues sometimes. Walt says, what is your favorite way to track your YouTube video metrics, rankings, keywords, etc. that allows you to export the data to spreadsheet? Walt, I use ProRankTracker.com for my all my video tracking. It's ProRankTracker.com. I use them for my video tracking. I use a desktop app for my website tracking, but for my which is it's called InSpider Rank Reporter. That's what I use for tracking websites, but for all video stuff, I use ProRankTracker.com. I like it, and you can export PNG files. You can actually create reports and shared reports that have like a URL and a login, got password and all that kind of stuff. So it works really well. Okay, that's it. We're done. Okay, guys. Well, everybody, thanks for being here. We will see you guys next week, and next week is not the launch; it's the following week, right?
Yes.
Sir.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Next week is the pre-launch when we all get hectic and nervous and stuff. So. Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for everybody being here.
All right.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a good one.
See you.
Bye, everyone.